It is wonderful to be with you today. I see many visitors in the audience, and we are thankful that you have come our way. And it is so good to see not only you, but also it's great to see our members here, those that are here for maybe the very first time since we've gone through a pandemic, or those that have been here just a few times. It is so great to see you. It's great to be back together as a family. If you're looking for a church family, we would like to be that for you. And so we want you to know that we love you and would love to join with you in life. I do want to go ahead and make you aware that share, as Jeff Wilson did, what a great week of camp we had. It was wonderful, and the countless volunteers it takes to put on that effort, the number of prayers on our behalf, those that were there. And one of the main focuses that I really pushed our kids to each night was this. I'm afraid we get more excited for cheering for a ball game than we do for worshiping the Lord. This should not be. And I will tell you, our kids responded. I thought our worships were wonderful. I thought Jeff and Don both did an unbelievable job of leading singing. Our kids sang. To hear a child sing. The curriculum written by Tabitha Durham and Tammy Ferris and Ronnie Ferris, no relation to our knowledge, was wonderfully written, and I thought it challenged our kids. And then to think about this, 4 new Christians. I can't wait to see what that celebration is like in heaven. Each night I would tell these students, they are celebrating in heaven because of you. And I don't think it was a celebration that was soft or quiet. I think it was big. I think it was huge. I think for Bella Carbine and Magnolia Bates and Naomi Nelson and Abby, A-B-B-E-Y, Wilson, I thought that God opened up the streamers and they came a-flowing in heaven. And how can we as a church not celebrate that with a round of applause? Is that not right? We go to a beautiful place. It really is. If you haven't been to Camp River Lake, it is on Timms Ford Lake, and it's really an image that looks like we go back into the 70s. I mean, you pull up and you're like, this is what church camp is supposed to look like. Apparently, every church camp movie that's ever been filmed has come to River Lake. It is beautiful, but rustic. You get in touch with God's nature, all of God's nature. But one of the things I noticed the most were the incredible trees on the campus. As you pull onto the campus, there's an oak tree that stands in front of the gymnasium. Jeff Wilson and I were admiring it one day, and I said, Jeff, how old do you think that tree has to be? And he goes, surely it's 200 years old. And if you look out of our cabin screen, I can't call it a window, or just through the boards of the wall, you'll see these majestic, large oak trees that seem as if they're reaching to heaven. Other than people, Trees are mentioned more than any other creation in Scripture. There's a tree on the first page in your book of Genesis. And there's a tree on the last page of the book of Revelation. The first psalm exhorts believers to live like a tree. We read that today. That trust in the Lord, that its roots reach towards cold water. Every major theological event has a tree marking the spot. Adam's first instructions were to dress and keep the trees of Eden. I remember the very first time I pulled into Nashville in August of 1990. And I went and I moved myself in the dorm high rise. For those of you that live in high rise this coming fall, it's been around a while. And I remember getting up for Sunday morning and wondering, where will I attend worship? There was a big marquee in the lobby that had all the churches and their times. And I picked one. And I went to church, and I remember I went to class, to the college class, and the teacher was a man named Coach Lynn Griffith. And I still remember to this day the first class on Sunday morning that I attended, because he talked about trees and how they will maneuver themselves around objects to grow towards the sun. There are so many lessons about trees. And this morning, I would like to tell you a story of two trees. Two trees that are real trees. Two trees that just happen to live at our home. You know, there are markers in your life, aren't there? There are seasons of your life, if you will. I saw Grant and Haley come in, and it was so wonderful to see them on Friday before camp as they were married and the celebration that ensued. And I can't help but think about the marker that they have established in their life as they moved into their new home. There are markers in your life, aren't there? I remember 20 years ago, we were looking for a home for our family. We were looking for a place to raise our children, and there are always things that you want as you look into how do I want my children to experience home life? What do we want to provide for them? What is the place that's just perfect for our family? Have you been there before? You know the place I'm talking about, right? That you pray for? Have you been there before? And I had these friends that were moving to Florida. And they had this beautiful little ranch home on this dead-end cul-de-sac. And I thought, that's the place that I need to raise my family. That's the place. And it wasn't, it's a modest home, it's a brick ranch, as I said, but there was something special about it. The love that had been in the walls. But there was something special about it. Because as you went around back, and I had been to this home before many times, there was a beautiful evergreen spruce that probably stood 40 feet tall. It was right off the patio. It was right outside the kitchen windows. It was ginormous. Its branches hung over so far that we actually could plant a garden underneath its branches. You know, those flowers that like shade instead of sun. And we used straw and hay, and we made this place, and we put a bench underneath its branches to come and sit and look at the beautiful flowers. And we hung, I say we. You guys know exactly what I mean when I say we, right? Michelle Tillman did that. We hung flower baskets in its branches. And it was a place where we could watch our children grow. This aggregate patio that had 3 steps down from the back door that stood outside the kitchen window, that we put a little pool there. A little swimming pool, and we could see them splash around. And it gave shade for the heat, and it became where we could be outside more than just in the fall and the winter and the spring. But it offered so much shade that we were able to use it all 4 seasons. It was a beautiful place. It was a place that you think, that's a marker for my family. It's a place where you sit under its branches and you thank the Lord for its shade. It's a place where you thought, this is exactly what God had in store for me. It's exactly what God had in store for my family. And I will never forget the day that I saw a little brown spot on the top of the spruce. I was like, that's interesting. Michelle, the top of the spruce, it looks like there's a little dead in it. Well, maybe we need to water it. Maybe we need to get some of these fertilizer sticks, and we need to stick in the ground that gives it more nourishment and nutrients. Maybe it's just a little tired. And I remember as the days go on and I saw that brown level continue to creep down. We called an arborist to come look at our beautiful spruce. They said it's only time. The tree's going to die. Have you had markers in your life that have left? Have you had gifts that you thought, surely, Lord, this is for my family. This is for me, that have left? And so we watched the tree die. Little by little, the more brown it became. I couldn't dare to cut it down while there still was a little green left in it. Just a little hope. Eventually, it all turned brown. And those majestic branches became brittle. And it became a hazard. It became dangerous because limbs would fall. And I called my father-in-law. I said, Alfred, I think I need your help. I got a massive tree that has died outside my house. And I'm afraid it's going to fall on the house. and I don't know what to do. Isn't it fun when you have people that you know who to call? And so he come up with his skid steer, his bobcat. And he had several chainsaws, and the work ensued. Cutting limbs and tying ropes and pulling it with a truck until finally we got it to the stump. And we tied this chain around the stump to the front of the skid steer, and we ripped out the roots from the ground. And it was devastating. It was a massive hole. And we sent it away. We cleaned up. There's a massive hole that was left. And I often wondered, that was my marker. There's a huge hole, but that was my marker. What do I do now? And it was depressing. As a matter of fact, it was so depressing, it completely took the backyard out away from us for a while. It no longer was it a place where our kids could go play in the swimming pool. They might fall in the hole. They might hurt themselves. No longer were there hanging baskets in the tree branches. No longer was there a bench that sat in its shade. It became hot. No longer did you wash dishes and look out the window and look at that beautiful tree. You just kept going, why? Why did it have to die? I don't know how long it took for us to really get over losing the tree. But I can tell you it was a while. And I remember one weekend, Michelle went to Centerville with the kids. And I thought to myself, this is my opportunity to get to that hole. I need to do something to reclaim what was taken from me. And I got a pitchfork, and I got a pickaxe, and I got a shovel, and I started working the dirt, and I started digging, and I got filthy. I mean, covered in dirt, and it was hot, and it was sweaty, and it was hard work. But I wanted to do something special. I wanted to bring back something that our family once knew. I wanted to do something that when they came home, they were, oh, look at this place. And I went and got dirt in my truck, and I shoveled dirt, and I filled the hole, and I tilled the land. And when she returned, now no longer was it a hole. It was an opportunity. We still missed the tree. We still missed the marker. But at least now there was a little hope. At least now, with the amount of work that I put in, with the sweat off my brow, with the dirty clothes, with a shovel and the pickaxe and the pitchfork and all the tools, and I didn't know what I was doing and digging, and there was some hope. And I remember when she pulled up, she was so excited. And I said, let's go get a tree. And we got in the truck and we drove down to a little, what do you call it, a little store where they have all the plants and nursery. That doesn't make sense to me, but the nursery. And we started thinking about what kind of tree could replace this massive 40-foot evergreen that was so majestic. What kind of tree could replace that? And I remember we got this little Japanese cherry tree, and we planted it in the ground. And I stood back and I looked at it and I thought, we have just bought Charlie Brown's Christmas tree. And I thought, well, that'll never be any good. All this work and sweat, and now I look out the windows and all I see is weak and frail. Where's my strength? Where's this majestic piece? Where's this centerpiece for our life? Where's this marker that God has given us? Well, there she be. But Michelle went to work, and she started putting flowers around the tree. And then we went and got some mulch, and we put some mulch around, and we started working a little bit, and it still was really hot. I didn't have the shade that I once had, but I'm starting to see the beauty. And I thought, wow, how lucky am I to have someone that can take a marker that disappears and make it beautiful once again when it seemed hopeless. You ever had those people in your life? As the years go by, that tree began to grow. And pretty soon it went from a Charlie Brown Christmas tree to this beautiful cherry tree that has the most beautiful white blossoms. It looks like snow on the end of each branch, or maybe cotton balls. Is that where we get cotton balls from, the end of tree branches? And about 10 years ago, I told Michelle, we need to do something about this heat out here, though. What if we built a porch? And so for her birthday, I won't tell you which birthday that was because I'm smarter than that. We built this porch. And it had ceiling fans in it. But you know what was funny? The cherry tree was still the centerpiece. That it filled up the whole outside of the porch. That it looks into the porch almost like it's protecting the porch. And still from the kitchen sink, you see this beautiful tree. And now you have this place that has become a place to gather again. A few years later, we decided, what if we put a rock wall around this tree and garden? What if we put a patio and a fire pit? Once I had a tree that was a marker. It was a beautiful gift from God that I'll always be thankful for. But he had something better. That space this past year has been a place of worship almost every Sunday night. That space has become an office. It's become a classroom. It's become a venue. It's become a new marker for our home. I don't know where you are in life. I don't know if you're in the midst of looking for a marker for your family. I don't know if you're in the midst of enjoying the marker that God has established. I don't know if you're grieving a marker that has been taken. but God is faithful. He is faithful. And he will establish new markers. How could we cheer more for a ball game than cheer for God? Maybe it's your time to give your life to see what markers He has for you. If we can help you, if we can start that new journey, won't you come?